Hey guys, it's your girl Leslie, and welcome to my channel. So hey guys, it's been a little bit. I'm so happy I'm finally able to record again. I've just been feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit lazy, a little bit of recent events happening. But I feel mostly better, just letting you know they're not the best of events that really happened for me. And well, I might post about it. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Do you guys want me to? It's mostly about band drama. And it revolves around me. There was other band drama, but I don't want to go too much about it till like a couple years later because I want that to be like for a special occasion. I promise I most likely will say it just like way years later, but for me the tea a little bit sad. Let's cold sad tea. Yeah, if you guys want to hear about it, let me know in the comments. Did it make me feel sad for a couple days? Yes, it did. But that did stop me from doing anything. No, I mean, it made me a little less productive because it did make me sad. But I still worked on myself and whatnot. For the next 2 days, I have to take the final, only for 2 classes. So tomorrow I have to go to 1 class, and then the day after go to 1 class, and I'm done. So that's pretty fucking cool. So anywho, today we're gonna be reading our story. Wabam. We're gonna be continuing to read this one. Last time I checked, we were in chapter, I'm looking for y'all. We stopped at chapter 14. Yeah. And if you guys are not gonna see this video like Thursday or Friday, heavy editing problems. That's your basic answer. Heavy editing. But yeah, can't wait to read a couple chapters more and get more into detail and see if this guy's gonna improve his sad things or not. I don't know. But also great news, I got book 8. Now the book cover shows a little bit of weirdness, a literal person made out of candy. Really scary, especially I don't like the eyeballs. I'd rather it have no eyeballs because I think it would look a little less scary, but them eyeballs just make it look weird. But this is 7 and this is 8, so this is kind of getting into order, but I couldn't find the other books. I have to look for it, but we're still stuck on this one. And yes, this series is gonna go a little bit in unorder. Apologize for that. And then after we finish reading the book for version, but I don't think we're gonna be done finishing with these books at all in a little bit. But yeah, this is like kind of a side book I wanted to do with you guys, and I think you guys are enjoying this book pretty much. Last recent video I posted was about creepypasta. Well, I think I'll either post another one of this or another of that or Carnage. I think I might do Carnage. I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So let's get straight into reading the story. I might start this one whenever I'm finished with one of the stories, either Carnage or creepypasta, maybe, or when I finish this one, which will take centuries. So I might even have to create a playlist for this whole book. Because how many chapters there is in this motherfucker. You can't put this all in the fucking, So, you know what I'm saying? So, anywho, let's get straight into this because I'm already taking this a little too long. Alright, so as you remember, the screener is going to be looking like this because I don't really want you guys to see my ugliness of a face. Even though you did already see it, but, it doesn't matter. Just shush. That doesn't count. Okay? We're going to be reading a couple chapters. I don't know how many chapters we're approximately going to read, but I will let you know in the end. And if you guys have any suggestions of any types of books, please let me know in the comments. Probably not going to be taking them at the moment, but I will take them into consideration in the future. So if you want to just drop one, let me know. Am I gonna actually look through the? Yes, I am. I look through literally whole comments when I'm looking for something specific. Like someone last time dropped me a whole links and links of all the types of Deku stories I could be reading, which is pretty fucking awesome. They're willing to do that much for me. Thank you so much. Even though it's been already months, still thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Anywho, let's get straight into this. Okay. Uh, Page 14. Yet, Robert said, had he just made 2 jokes in a row? He's 2, right? Yes. Well, maybe I should give it a year or 2 before I offer my babysitting services. She smiled at him, a warm, genuine smile. Listen, I'm giving you a free pass this week, but next Wednesday, you're going out for half-price sushi with us. No more little sad sandwiches for you. Robert gave her a little wave. I will consider your invitation. Thank you. He turned to go back to his cubicle. It's not an invitation, just called out behind him. It's mandatory. Mandatory sushi. Which would be great for which would be a great name for a band, by the way. Robert sat back down at his cubicle. He was pretty sure that his conversation with Jess was the longest conversation he had had with a non-family member in months. Like someone who hasn't exercised in years and suddenly finds himself back on the treadmill. He was exhausted. No more chit-chat today. He stayed at his desk, where he worked non-stop until 5, which it was time to leave. He felt no sense of relief. He was simply moving from one series of tasks in one location to another series of tasks in another. Off went the graphic designer hat. On went the dad hat. Robert pulled on into the parking lot of Timmy Tot Academy and went into the cheerful red-roofed building to fetch his son. He entered the room with the big red number 2 on the door. The walls were peppered with construction paper cutouts and unintentionally abstract crayon scribbles drawings. Robert found Tyler's bubbly young teacher, Miss Lauren, surrounded by toddlers playing with the brightly colored toys that cluttered the floor. While being outnumbered by volleyable whatever little people seemed terrifying to Robert, Miss Lauren looked perfectly at home and greeted Mr. Robert with a smile. She stood up to get closer to Robert's eye level. He was a happy boy for most of the day, she said. Though, there's one little thing I should tell you about. Robert braced for the bad news. He hoped Tyler hadn't hit some other kid or bitten somebody. It seemed like everyday care had one kid that was bitter. That was the bitter. Nobody wanted to be the bitter's parent. Miss Lauren smiled again. Don't worry. He didn't attack anybody or anything. Robert let himself breathe a little. Miss Lauren pushed back her curly brown hair behind her ears. It was just today I asked the kids to draw pictures of their families and talk about them. Being 2, most of them were just drew blobs and scribbles. But then we sat in a little circle and everybody talked about their families and who was in their pictures. Tyler's friend Noah noticed Tyler didn't have a mom in his picture and asked him about it. Tyler got a little upset, and I think mostly because someone pointed out his family was different. Robert hated to think that think of Tyler being singled out because of his loss. Did that kind of behavior have to start so early? Aren't these kids a little young to even notice that kind of thing? He asked. He looked around at the toddlers in the room, playing with blocks or trucks or dolls. They were babies, really. Miss Lawrence smiled again. Oh, you'd be surprised what they notice. They don't miss much, believe me. I told Noah and the rest of the class that not all kids have a mommy and a daddy. That they're all different kinds of families. And I talked about what some of those families might look like. I said the only thing you need to make a family is people and love. So I guess you should say it turned into a teachable moment. Robert stiffened. He hated the thought of his and Tyler's broken little family being used as a teachable moment. And for what? So the other kids could feel sorry for Tyler instead of just making fun of him? He didn't want his son to be the object of ridicule, but he didn't want to be the object of pity either. Oh my goodness. There was no point in saying anything negative to Miss Lauren. She was so young and bright-eyed and idealistic that criticizing her would be like kicking a friendly puppy. Aw. He finally heard himself say, "Thank you so much for letting me know." It sounded stiffer and more formal than necessary, but at least it was polite. "You're welcome," Miss Lauren said. "I just thought I should say something in case, you wanted to talk about it with Tyler at home." "Right," Robert said. He didn't want to talk about it, not at home with his son, and definitely not here with a near stranger. "You ready to go, buddy?" he called to Tyler from across the room. Across the brightly decorated room. Tyler looked up from his plastic dump truck, and he was rolling back and forth and said, "Daddy!" He grinned and jumped up and ran to Robert, his arms outstretched. "See?" Miss Lauren said, "A happy boy." Robert had a hard time taking comfort in this statement. If Tyler was a happy boy, it was only because he didn't yet understand what he was missing. Robert didn't really want to stop for groceries on the way home, but he didn't see any way around it. Robert didn't care much about eating, but he knew if nothing else, he had to make sure his kids' basic needs were met. Once he got Tyler safely strapped into his car seat, he said, "We need to stop at the store on the way home, buddy. We're out of milk and juice." Toddlers ran on milk and juice the way cars ran on gasoline. They had to have it, and they burned their way through it at an alarming and expensive rate. "Milk dues," Tyler said. "Okay, I can't do baby things, so I'm sorry to disappoint y'all." Okay, anyway, continuing. "That's right. We'll buy some at the store. You can pick whatever kind of juice you want." "Babble," Tyler sang. For some reason, when he said the word apple, it came out with a B at the beginning. "You want apple juice?" Robert said. This was the way the toddler's owner's manual said to handle kids. Mispronunciations. Not to call attention to them, but to make sure you repeat the word correctly. "Yeah, babble juice," Tyler cheered. "You got it, buddy." Robert turned into the Walmart parking lot and prepared himself for the ordeal of shopping. Tyler owned a T-shirt with Freddy Fazbear on. Yeah, I had to stop there. Ooh, our first clue. Ooh, anyways, continuing. T-shirt with Freddy Fazbear on it, but Robert had never thought of his son as a Freddy fanatic. He was too little, for one thing, as he pushed Tyler into the shopping cart past the toy aisles, though Tyler pointed his index finger and yelled, "Freddy!" at the top of his tiny lungs. "What was that, buddy?" Robert asked, looking around to see what Tyler was seeing. For a second, he thought Freddy was a kid Tyler recognized from daycare. "Freddy! Freddy!" Taylor yelled, his eyes wide with excitement. Robert followed the line of his son's pointing finger at a display identical plush brown bears with wide smiles, thick black eyebrows, and black top hats. The packaging proclaimed that what Tyler was looking at was a toy called Tagalon Freddy. But how did Tyler know that? Ooh. With a surge of guilt, Robert realized how Tyler most likely knew. When Robert was especially exhausted or too sad to cope, and this happened more often than he would like to admit, he would plop Tyler down in front of the TV. He only let him watch age-appropriate programming and the cartoons. While they were no doubt eye candy with bright colors and rapidly shifting images, did at least make a pretense of having some educational value. But when they were the commercials, the terrible commercials designed by boardrooms of cynical suits on Madison Avenue to make children desire technology, whatever, sugar blobs, whatever that word is, I can't even pronounce that, as cereal, high fructose corn syrup suspensions, and whatever that word is, as juice drinks, and the latest toys based on the most popular of pop culture trends. You want to look at one of the Freddies? Robert asked. Tyler nodded and held out his hands. Robert placed the toy in Tyler's hands, and Tyler's mouth spread into a beautiful smile that conjured the ghost of his mother. Even though the bear was encased in the cardboard packaging, he drew it to him in a hug. Well, he said. Well, shoot. Robert thought. It was hard to argue with love. Oh, that's adorable. What I can say is I might have a plushie similar to that here. Let me just show you guys right now. I think this is the basic description of Freddy, of what his face would look like. I think it's like a whole little body doll, or like basically a plushie, not just his head though. Whole like small version of a plushie, like, you know, little plushies you can get like for expensive because they're very special plushies, you know what I'm saying? This is one of the plushies I have though. He's absolutely adorable and I appreciate him so much. Freddy head. A big ass Freddy head. Okay, anyways, continuing. We gotta continue with this love, bro. I love this, bro. Okay, anyways. Wow. You be careful with that bear, Robert said. No, it wasn't wow. Okay, now, you be careful with that bear, Robert said. We haven't decided if we're going to buy it. When he looked at the price sticker, he was surprised at how expensive it was. Yikes, he muttered. Buy? Tyler asked, still clutching the toys to his chest. Mine? Well, let me read the packaging and see if it's safe for kids your age, Robert said. He pulled another bear off the shelf and turned it over. The pictures on the back of the board showed laughing toddlers playing with Tagalong Freddy, and interestingly, a woman dressed like she worked at an office. Looking at her wristwatch and smiling like all well in the world, Robert read the text of the back of the package. This is the back of the package, by the way. Okay. Tagalong Freddy is a kid's and parents' best pal. Freddy goes where your little one goes and sends you live updates on your Tagalong time wristwatch. Wristwatch included. So you'll know when your little one is happy and safe. You may have to be out of sight sometimes, but Tagalong Freddy is the bear who is always there. Okay, that's a little creepy. So wait, how big is this doll? How big are we talking about? Because if it's like if it's something that follows a person, it would have to be at least either half the size of the toddler or the same size as the toddler. So how exactly heavy is it? Or is it like a small plushie with wheels at the bottom? Or is it walkable? Is it like type of robotic type of thing? I am curious now. Is there a photo type of version of this? Please, guys, let me know. I need to know these things, bruh. Okay, and that's also our clue. Our other clue is who is always there, because that I proclaim that is a clue. Do not argue with me. Okay, continuing. Okay. Anyways, continuing. Robert thought of it all the times he had to tend to something in the kitchen, or take an important call and leave Tyler unattended. It was amazing what could go wrong in just a few seconds. He recalled once when he left the living room long enough to stir a pot on the stove and returned to find Tyler scaling the bookcase like King Kong climbing the Empire State Building. He could see how this Tagalong Freddy could come in handy, especially for a single parent like him. When you look into account that it was a toy that was also a safety device, the price didn't seem too outrageous. Tyler, he said, Would you like to take this Freddy home with you? Tyler's whole face lit up into a beautiful smile. Yes, Daddy. Thank you. Miss Lauren at daycare told Robert they had been working on please and thank yous, but this was the first time he had ever heard Tyler say thank you without being prompted by a, what do we say? You're welcome, buddy, and I'm loving those good manners. Getting the bear and the wristwatch set up and working was mildly annoying, but could have been worse. After about 15 minutes of fussing with directions and batteries, Robert had everything in working order. He handed the bear over to Tyler and said, "Why don't you play with Freddy while I get our supper started?" "Freddy!" Tyler said, giving the bear a hug. In the kitchen, Robert put a pot of hot water to boil and dumped some contents of a jar of spaghetti sauce into a pan. He was getting the lettuce, carrots, and cucumbers out of the fridge to start a salad when his tag-along Freddy wristwatch vibrated. The screen said, "A message from Freddy." Robert tapped the screen and a text appeared. "It's all good. I'm playing with my best buddy." Cute. Robert couldn't help but smile. Robert sliced the carrots and cucumbers for the salad and put the pasta on to boil. When he went into the living room, you could tell Tyler it was time to eat. The little boy was holding Freddy on his lap and reading to him in one of those little board books, My First Book of Colors. Every time Tyler did something this adorable, Robert wished Anna was here to see it, but who was he kidding? He'd always wished Hannah was here. "I'm Freddy's daddy." "You are, huh? That's pretty cool," Robert said. "Are you and Freddy ready for supper?" Robert expected at least a little argument since Tyler was in the middle of his reading, but he said, "Okay, Daddy." He tucked his bear under his arm and followed Robert to the kitchen. When he helped Tyler to his place at the table, Tyler sat Freddy down in the chair next to him and said, "Freddy plate. You want me to give Freddy a plate too?" Oh, excuse me, wrong thing. "You want Freddy to have a plate too?" Robert asked. "Uh-huh," Tyler said, nodding like it was a very serious matter. Yeah, you show him, fool." Feeling more than a little silly, Robert set a plate and a cup at the spot on the table in front of the toy bear. He set down a plate of spaghetti and a bowl of salad in front of Tyler along with his sippy cup of milk. "Now Freddy has to just eat. Pretend food or he'll get all messy," Robert said. "He'll pretend eat spaghetti." And then, because he knew rhymes cracked Tyler up, he said, "Freddy spaghetti." Tyler giggled like his dad just had made the funniest joke in the world. "Freddy spaghetti," he said, then laughed some more, slapping the table in hilarity. "He's ready for Freddy spaghetti," Robert said. He was milking the joke, but what you did when you had a 2-year-old audience, there was not much occasion for subtle wit. Robert and Tyler ate spaghetti and salad and laughed a lot. Even Robert had to admit it was a fun time. The downside to feeding a toddler spaghetti was about how it made a bath necessary. Pronto. Tyler's face was so smeared with orange goo that when he smiled, he looked like a jack-o'-lantern. Somehow, he had even managed to get noodles into his hair. "Okay, buddy," Robert said, steeling himself in preparation for a tantrum. "We're going to have to get straight to the bathtub after this." "Freddy bathe too?" Tyler asked. "Freddy can't get wet, but he can come along," Robert said. "Okay, Daddy," Tyler said, picking up his bear and walking towards the bathroom. Talking Tyler into a bath usually involved such elaborate negotiations. Robert felt he should involve the United Nations. He couldn't believe tonight's routine was going so easy. It was funny, though. As much as Tyler usually argued about bath time, once he was in the water, he loved it. Robert threw Tyler's collection of rubber duckies and toy boats into the water, and the boy was happy to splash and play. Robert set Freddie down on Tyler's toddler step stool, so he was at a safe distance from the splash zone, but Tyler could still see him. Tyler held up each of his tub toys to show to Freddie. Freddie, this is my blue bow. Freddie, this is my yellow ducky. 2-year-olds love to show off and brag about their material possessions. Robert had noticed. That's awesome. Wait, where am I? Okay, cool. When Tyler talked to his grandma on the phone, most of what he said was a list of toys he owned. It was like he was some kind of business tycoon bragging about how many cars and houses he owned. After Tyler was cleaning in his choo-choo train pajamas, Robert tucked him into bed with Tag-along Freddie. You want me to read a book to you, buddy? Robert asked. 2 books, Tyler said. Robert pretended to be aghast at such an outrageous request. 2 books? 'Cause I'm 2, Tyler said, like he had explained everything. Well, I guess I can't argue with that. Robert scooted a chair next to Tyler's bed and looked at Tyler's bookshelf. The Silly Chicken, Tyler said. Robert pulled out a book about the silly chicken. Do the voices, Tyler said. Robert read the book about the silly chicken, complete with silly chicken voices. Tyler giggled because the voice was funny, but also, Robert suspected, because it was hilarious to hear your parent make a fool of himself. Now the piggy one, Tyler said. Robert obeyed. By the end of the piggy story, Tyler's eyes were drooping seconds after Robert closed the book. Tyler wrapped his arm around his tag-along Freddie and went right to sleep. Robert couldn't believe how much easier the regular task of parenting had become with the tag-along Freddie. He couldn't believe that he almost didn't buy the bear because it seemed too expensive. It would have been worth at twice the price. Robert got a soda and a snack from the fridge and settled in to watch a dumb but fun action movie he'd missed because he never got to go to the theater anymore. He knew he could hire a sitter, but he already felt... Alright, gal, we're gonna stop there because, yeah, we're gonna stop there. Because I gotta go to bed soon, and I gotta, what I'm saying? Y'all understand. Alright, anyways, back to my face. So, hey guys, oh my goodness, guys, this story, oh my goodness, that was so adorable, and we got love, and we got clues. So this is when we first get Freddy Fazbear. Finally, Freddy Fazbear into this guy's mouth. Or mentioned for the first time. Our second video of us reading the story. Because technically y'all guys are hearing me read. So y'all listening, y'all your weird voices in your head are reading it for you. Y'all get what I'm saying. Y'all are reading it in your heads too. Anywho. Basically, a couple clues that we got here. Let me go back into it. I made sure to save the chapter, so don't worry, y'all. So, our first clue is... Give me a minute, I'm looking for it. Is the Freddy Fazbear shirt. And the second clue is the description, I think. I think it's kind of a clue because... I think... in some Freddy Fazbear games, or specifically specific theories point to how they're always there, or they're always with you, or I will help you, I will avenge you, or something like that. That type of thing. Because I believe in one of the games, and like the mini games, there was a scene where the crying child, where it was like, don't worry, I'll fix you, or something like that, with a text of a colored character that people kind of don't know. People think it's Golden Freddy. Some people think it's another character entirely. Some people even think it's something completely different. And I think that kind of points to this as well, because the Freddy is the bear who is always there. The bear who was always there with the crying child was the golden doll. The golden teddy bear. So were the others, but the golden teddy bear was the main one that catches people's eyes when they play the mini game. Because if you don't notice, that little bear, its little eyes follow you. So it's basically kind of always there and watching you. So, of course, this isn't actually Golden Freddy. We're talking about our original Freddy here. So, I think that's kind of where I think that might be a good clue. And also where, it also includes that it basically follows, the child carries the doll around, gives notifications and whatnot, but there are some cases in real life where notifications start getting creepy. And I think that might happen with this doll, where the messages start just getting a little weird and too weird, and then start getting slowly down to creepy. I think that's what it will lead to. I don't know. I have not read the story, like I said. These are just theories for me. And then for Robert knowing Freddy Fazbear, I think he is a fan for now. I don't think he was necessarily an employee, because if he was, I doubt he would fucking buy that doll. I fucking doubt it. But I guess this is what the doll looks like now that I realize it. My dumbass just realized it. I guess this is what kind of the doll looks like, because, doll has to kind of have a little bit of electronics in his body. So this is what the doll looks like, of what I'm guessing in the front page. I don't know what the fuck this is, but if I had this in my house, oh hell no, I'm running. I'm getting something to get rid of it. I don't care if it's candy. I can't eat that. I die. It swallow me first. Anywho, this is what the toy looks like broken down. I doubt it looks like that officially. It probably looks brand new, and whatnot, and very comfortably nice, really sweet. What confuses me is that they did kind of put this, but what is it trying to specifically tell us? Is it trying to tell us that the Freddy bear isn't all what it seems, or that there's something hiding in it to where it causes some little weird things happening? You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit of things missing. The teddy bear moving from one place to the other. That is a little scary. But I'm making up these theories a little early, because these do happen. That happens with Spring Bonnie. When you play one of the Five Nights at Freddy games. I totally forgot. But you basically sometimes you get it, but you basically you have a flashlight, and then you basically turn it off and on, and sometimes Spring Bonnie will move. And if you don't get it on the X by the time the timer runs out, you basically get killed by the Spring Bonnie, which is a basically mini version of Springtrap, basically. And it's it's like, that's what it's kind of, this toy is reminding me of. I don't think it'd be so big to the point where it is Spring Bonnie, because Spring Bonnie might be as big as a small child. This dude must be at least a little smaller, like maybe half the size, or a little bit, at least like comparison. They're gonna use this book, and about like that big, maybe. It's not gonna be a small bear, but it ain't gonna be a big bear either. It's like a medium-sized bear. These are some of the theories I'm thinking of, and then especially when they can't get wet, electronics, you know what I'm saying? Also that that he also knows in the first place. It's pretty cool that they also bring a wristwatch, but what the freak? Oh my god, I'd be so scared. Oh my god, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is what I got so far. I can't really think of much. But yeah, that's all I got in my brain cells that I think that might happen. I'm not completely sure. We gotta continue reading the book, and hopefully nothing bad happens to his son, because I know that would be so sad. Ugh. because his son is so cute. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. As you notice, I have like a whole new thing here because I accidentally, whenever I deleted all my stuff from my old phone, I deleted the things I usually use. So I'm using this because this is shorter, faster, and easier. You know what I'm saying? Ding! So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, like your theories and whatnot. Because I'm pretty sure there's some good theories to add in this, just for the beginning. Because some of these can add to other things, like the comic book version, or just plain comic books, the game, other story, like the story slowly kind of merging together. Just let me know your theories down below. Maybe tell me if game theorists have done this book yet or not. I'm not too sure. I haven't watched Game Theorist in a little bit, sadly, even though he's amazing. He's amazing. He's the solver, for real. He's literally the solver, for real. He's big brain. And the rest of his team is big brain. So, yeah, let me know your theories. Tell me what you think. Tell me what theories you have. Just tell me what you basically think about the story and what you think it might lead up to. I think it might lead up to a lot of mystery, obviously. This is Five Nights at Freddy's. We're not talking about Dollhouse here. Okay, so, yeah, Shody. Okay, anyways, so, okay, that's a little weird. Wait, oh my gosh. Anyways, I got to go for now, guys. Bye and peace. Oh, wait, before you go, you better not leave right now. Look at this picture of a flower I took before you leave.